Hiya ladies, so this is a really big subject, and more importantly it's going to focus on maintenance before you hit your goal weight, because it's something that came in one of my messages this week, and I think a lot of you ladies are thinking about it, or will be very, very soon. And again, maintenance is a massive subject, specifically the idea of going into maintenance. So this is a long video, so bear with me. You might want to watch this twice. So even if you haven't quite reached your goal weight, and I want to talk about this from my own experience, because that's the only reference point that I have at this stage, because this is something I've really had to think through myself, and I have struggled with it. And over the past few years, my weight has come down significantly. I mean, 7 stone for me it was the dream, but then it stopped moving for months and months, and I found myself in that space of kind of thinking, God, I'm so close. Do I keep pushing? Do I keep chasing it? Or is this where my body is actually settling? Because that part was hard to kind of come to terms with, because the 7 stone wasn't my goal weight. I still probably could do it another maybe 10, 12, 14 pounds or whatever. And that's not an easy kind of place to be, because for years we've been taught that the goal is an actual number, that you keep going until you hit that number. That like anything short of that means you're not quite finished yet. But what I've learned, and what I'm still learning, is this: your body doesn't always follow the number that you have in your head. And at some point it starts to stabilize. Your body just thinks to itself, I'm grand now, I think I'll stay here, I'm comfortable. And that doesn't mean nothing is happening. It often means your body is just adapting. It's finding a place that it can sustain. And that's where a different kind of work begins. Because maintenance isn't just about holding a number on the scale. It's about shifting your focus from weight loss to how you live, how you eat, how you move, how you feel in your body, and how you maintain the life that you've worked so hard to build, the life that you have wanted, the life that you prayed this medication was going to give you. And I'll be very honest, it took me a few attempts to settle into that. In fact, I think it took me 3 attempts. I completely overthought it. I adjusted things. I second guessed myself. I even changed my dose and then panicked and went back up again. And that back and forth, that's all part of it. You don't just slide into this and it doesn't just work like, we think it was going to work. Because you're not just changing your body, you're changing your mindset. Going from weight loss into stable weight is a hard shift on the mindset. And for many of us, letting go of the idea that just a few more pounds is actually one of the hardest parts, because those last few pounds can feel very, very loaded, like they represent the finish line that we were taught and trained and conditioned for it to be, that finish line. But what I've had to ask myself is this: what am I actually chasing? And what is it costing me to keep chasing that? Because at some point you have to start to realize you've already built something really, really valuable. You're stronger. You've got better habits. You feel more stable in your moods, You have a life that feels different to how you could ever have imagined it before these medications. And maintenance becomes about protecting that, not constantly trying to push beyond it. And that doesn't mean you stop progressing. You can still work on your strength, you can still work on your body composition, on your fitness, but the focus shifts. And I think that's the piece that that doesn't get talked about enough. And if you're in that space right now, whether your weight has plateaued and you're close to where you thought you'd be, but not exactly there yet, you're not, that's not anything to be really worried about. You know, you are at a transition point, and that's how we have to think about it. And that is worth exploring, not rushing past it. And I also want to open this up because this is it's like a much bigger conversation that I can do in a 6-minute video. So if you have questions about maintenance, about dosing, about mindset, about how to navigate this stage, then reach out to me, talk about it in the group chat, because this is something we're going to see more and more of in the group. And it's something that we can all work on together and figure it out together as well, because I have been trying to do so much research on it and trying to search for people who are in maintenance and who have, not even people that are in maintenance, but people that went into maintenance before they hit the number that they had kind of dreamt about in their head. And that's harder than maintenance. I think that mindset shift of starting maintenance even when you haven't hit your goal weight. So yeah, massive subject, absolutely huge.